Defending United Airlines. Man, with a title like that, I wonder how many people are going to automatically dislike. Okay, so full disclosure, my mom works for United Airlines. She didn't give me a whole lot of information because I don't know that she's able to. But I have been flying on United Airlines for many years and have learned the whole standby overbooking process. And I want to give my 2 cents on this because when I first heard about it from her, I didn't think it was going to be this much of a story. It's on the news, it's on YouTube. PewDiePie made a video, Philip DeFranco made a video, and normally, especially Philip DeFranco, he's pretty thorough. There's not a whole lot that he misses. He gives normally very unbiased opinions on things, and he did a really great job in his video, but there are quite a few things that no one has said yet, hence me making this video. To be fair, I like debate. I have studied debate. I often choose the side to argue that I don't agree with because it is fun to present a different perspective. That is somewhat what I'm going to be doing in this video. I do not think that the situation was handled correctly. I feel bad for this man, but I think that the story is a little bit more nuanced and no one is really giving that side of it. And I like to play devil's advocate, but also I do agree with the things that I am saying. So a little bit of quick background for those of you not aware, there was a flight from Chicago to Louisville, which by the way is only like an hour flight. It's an hour flight, it's a cheap flight. If you were to drive, it would only take you 5 hours. That's what this whole thing was over. There was a situation where the flight was full, everyone was in their seats already, and there were 4 United employees that needed to get on this plane. And I'm going to explain the details of this a little bit later. But the short story is that 4 people who already were on the plane needed to deboard, deplane, so that these 4 United employees could get on the plane and go to Louisville. No one wanted to get off the plane. So standard protocol when these things happen is money is offered, miles are offered, hotels are offered, sometimes you get vouchers for food, so that you can get on the next flight. And, sometimes that's the next day, sometimes that's in a few hours. I don't know exactly what the rerouting would have been for this particular situation, but they were offered $400. No one volunteered to get off the plane. They were offered $800. No one volunteered to get off the plane, and at this point, United selected 4 passengers at random, and one of them, this man who I guess was a doctor and needed to get home for his patients, he just absolutely refused. And because of that, airport security was called, and security guards had to physically drag this man off of the plane.
No! Oh my God! Oh my God! No, this is wrong! Oh my God! Look at what you did to him!
Yeah, that clip looks pretty bad. He also managed to get back on the plane, ran to his seat, and still had to leave. This was very bad. There was a lady as he was being pulled off screaming, "No, oh my God, this isn't right.
Oh my God!
What are you doing? This is wrong." And of course, it does look really bad. This is bad PR. Hey, United, by the way, if someone higher up is watching this video, people have cell phones. You have to expect if something like this is going to go down, it will be recorded, it will go viral on the internet, you will look very bad. I guess where I'm confused is apparently, according to Philip DeFranco's video, airlines can offer up to $1,300 to get people to come off of a plane. And they weren't doing that. So I kind of wonder why they stopped at $800. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I wasn't there. Would have been a lot nicer if someone volunteered to get off for $1,300. I certainly would have if I could have. Man, that's a lot of money. A lot of people are complaining in videos that I've seen about overbooking. And to give a little bit of explanation about this, a lot of times, actually most of the times, any airline company, by the way, not just United, will overbook flights because people often do not show up to the flight and it leaves with empty seats. This loses, the airline loses money for this because they could have sold those seats. I know that they already made the money from the tickets that they sold, and people feel as though if they have a ticket, they should be entitled to the seat. But I don't think airline companies are as lucrative as you may think they are. For example, my mom used to work back in the day for a company called Eastern Airlines. They're no longer a thing. They're gone. She moved from Eastern Airlines to Continental Airlines. Continental Airlines also actually had a merger with United, and that's how she ended up working for United. So it went from Eastern to Continental. Continental and United merged, and now it just is under the umbrella name of United. Under United's management, Continental is no longer a thing. So it is common for airlines to run out of money, to just go out of business, to require merging with someone else in order to stay afloat. So overbooking is a thing that any airline will do. It's not just United. It's not just airlines that may be suffering. Like, everyone does this. And to me, it makes sense. To me, it is a smart business measure. I mean, I know that sometimes it can get confusing when everyone does show up. That doesn't hardly ever happen. I can promise you this because, like I said, my mom works for United Airlines. I often can fly for free on standby. Standby just means I sit around a flight. Sometimes there are people who are higher priority than me also on standby. They could get called first, but I have the chance to get on if a seat happens to be available. I have often tried to get on planes that are overbooked. For example, I can pull it up on the computer system and see, hey, this flight to Washington, D.C., for example, is overbooked by 3, but I'm like number 2 on the standby list. So in my head, I have a really good chance of getting on that flight. And I most of the time do. And most of the times whenever I do get on these flights, they still leave with empty seats. So in my head, like, overbooking is smart. You know, not everyone understands how things work on the business end of things, but you know, it can be unfortunate. Most of the times people are compensated whenever it does happen. But I mean, whenever you book a flight, it doesn't even have to do with overbooking planes. Whenever you buy a plane ticket, you are agreeing to a wide range of different risks or complications that could cause your flight to be delayed, your flight to be canceled, or for you to not, for some other reason, be able to get on the flight. For example, sometimes weather can cause, you know, flights to be completely canceled or delayed. If you have a connecting flight, you have to get on, you know, the first plane, and then you have a layover in another city, and then you get on another plane. Well, if that first flight is delayed, you might not make your second flight. All of these things happen, and you are, you know, pretty much signing up for that possibility when you buy a plane ticket. Just because you have a plane ticket, just because you paid for a plane ticket, means not a whole lot. I mean, it means you should be able to get on the plane, ideally, if conditions are right, but it means that, like, there's a good chance, you know, something might go wrong. You might not get on that flight. You might not make it to your destination. This is on any airline. It's pretty across the board. Normally, if a flight is overbooked, they don't let people get on the plane and then pull them off. It's very rare that you can get past the gate agent to get on the plane and then get pulled off of a plane. Normally, they have all that figured out before, and if the plane's full, they're not going to let you get on. This was a very unique situation in which it was a very last-minute need for these 4 employees to be in Louisville because of another flight. Another flight had an issue with its crew members, and that flight was not going to be able to leave unless it had these 4 employees or, you know, somebody from somewhere to come in and take their place. Otherwise, a flight of 160 or whatever, however big the flight was, of people would not have been able to leave that day. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it looks horrible. It's inconveniencing one person. Obviously, it was more than an inconvenience. But if these 4 people had just chosen to, like, get off the plane as they should have, it would have inconvenienced 4 people so that an entire plane full of people could leave. Do you know what I mean? You know, like I said, there's complications all the time. There's delays. There's issues with employees not being able to make it to their next destination to get on their next flight. There's all kinds of complications that can happen. And this was the remedy for these 4 employees to get to Louisville so they can get on this flight so that this entire plane full of people waiting can leave. It was last second, and that's why he was allowed to get on the plane and then asked to leave. It is still very unfortunate. He should be compensated. At this point, obviously, he should be issued an apology. When I first heard about the whole thing, I'm like, he should sue him. But, you know, hearing the details of it, it's not what I thought it was. And I promise you, there's probably not a whole lot in the realm of suing that he could even pursue successfully because of all the other details that I just said. And one thing I wanted to mention, there is something called a contract of carriage. You know, whenever you buy a plane ticket online and then there's like all those little letters and you have to like scroll through, everyone doesn't read it. They just scroll to the bottom and then click agree. It's like a software agreement on a computer. No one reads that shit. But in it, there is something called a contract of carriage. And it basically states everything that I just said. You know, in the case where you are asked to deboard a plane, you are legally required to do so. he was put into a situation that sucks, was unfortunate. I could understand him being mad. I can understand him yelling. I can understand him refusing to ever fly in United again and throwing a temper tantrum, which I have seen happen in person many a times while waiting on standby. People yell at the ticketing agent. They're angry on the plane. They're angry when they're checking their bags. They threaten things. They yell and scream. It can get very ugly. I feel bad for those employees. But all of these things, although are extreme, are, reactions that are pretty normal. People get mad. But refusing to get off of the plane once you have signed an agreement that is legally binding, you're kind of breaking the law. I know that people are going to get so mad at me for saying this, but legally, you're required to get off the plane. And he didn't. So they called security. Whenever you don't do something you're legally required to do, police can get involved. It's so unfortunate that he didn't comply and things couldn't have just been easy. It's very sad that I think he hit his head somewhere, and then that's why there was blood everywhere. It's a very gruesome scene, very bad PR. It looks horrible. He shouldn't have been treated that way. But in my head, I keep trying to rationalize and figure out, well, what should they have done? They should have offered more money. I think they should have. If they can offer up to $1,300, they should have tried that first to see if, at that point people would have been willing to get off the plane. But what do you do in a situation like that? This person's legally required to get off the plane. This is standard protocol for any airline. You call in airport security. By the way, the airport security, they're not connected to United. It's not like it's United's security people. So if you have an issue with the way they handled the man, that's kind of on them, not United. Although it is all very unfortunate. I feel so bad because I don't want to defend this man getting hurt, or act like that's okay, because it's not okay. But like I said, what are you supposed to do in this situation? He's refusing. He's resisting, police officers. I think people, and this is for any situation, people love to jump on a bandwagon. People love outrage. It is very easy to villainize United in this, and I don't think that they are totally innocent. I do think that they have some apologies to issue and some explaining to do. But at the same time, be aware of the nuance of the situation. What I think is really sad is that people are so angry, so riled up over this, that they're calling United, and whoever answers the phone, whatever employee that may be, those people are getting yelled at. Those people had nothing to do with any of this. They don't really deserve that. They're getting death threats. Come on. My mom's an employee of United. I don't want to sit around and be like, I wonder if someone's going to call her, sitting at her desk, totally removed from this, getting death threats. It's not like she's a CEO. It's not like she's in charge of the company. Even then, I don't think it's ever okay to give someone a death threat. But regardless, people are so angry and so irrational over this to the point where they're just calling and yelling at or threatening whatever employee happens to answer the phone. Yeah, I think it's gone too far. So I just kind of wanted to put out the information that I had. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Like I said, I like to try to make videos giving a very unbiased, point of view on things. I'm not getting anything out of this. My mom is not a higher up at United. She gets nothing out of this. It does worry me that, she might be getting negative calls because she's very sensitive, and that's mean. It's messed up. And I do feel bad for this man that was drug off the plane. It was very horrible. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How should this have been handled? Do you think, United is the villain that the media is painting them to be? And how do you think that in the future things like this can be avoided? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like this video if it already hasn't been. Disliked bomb because of the title. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.